Welcome to this episode of the Modern Sales Mastery Show. Hey, y'all, I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. Thank you for joining us here on the Modern Sales Mastery Show. So, what's today's topic? We've got some really awesome topics that we've been bringing forth, but this one I'm excited about specifically because it's focused on you as the sales leader. 7 steps to become a social sales leader. That's right. We're focusing in on the sales manager, director, vice president, CSO, CRO, on all around how to become the social sales leader that your sellers actually want to follow and setting the right example as well. Everything that we focus on is all around increasing engagement, creating more conversations, closing pipeline so that you and your sellers can prospect better and sell more. So welcome to today's episode. Follow us on LinkedIn. Just type in followonlinkedin.com and make sure that you're following us there. We've got a ton of great content, images, information, infographics, all around how to prospect better. And that's really our main focus. If you love videos, watching live video, short clips, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos that are out there that you could watch and consume. I myself am not a book reader, but I do love consuming blog content and videos. I do a couple thousand blogs and videos per year is what I consume. So make sure you follow on youtube.com, And of course, if you're a tweeter, get out there and join us on twitter.com. Make sure that you put that inside there and follow us. Let's get started. Why should leaders, you, a leader, be focused on becoming a social sales leader? Well, a couple of things I want you to think about. First of all, let's talk about the impact of what social selling can do for your sales organization. This was produced by CSO Insights, and this came from their 4th annual sales enablement study, and it showcased that when companies drove an adoption rate across the sales organization of greater than 76% of their sellers were engaging on social, win rates went to 61.5% probability of winning. But for organizations that had their sellers less than 25% engaged and leveraging social to engage with their buyers, their win rate was at 41.9%. So think about this, nearly a 50% increase going from 41 to 61% when you drive adoption. And guess what, leaders? Our sellers have the monkey see, monkey do attitude. So if you're expecting them to leverage social, then you've got to be leading from the front. That's what this slide is really focusing on, making sure that in fact, that you're leading from the front and showing them how to produce leads. And we'll talk about that in a second, what your role is in terms of being able to engage and connect with buyers and to be able to build relationships. That's really the point of this is, look, if you haven't figured it out yet, the world is digital and it ain't going back. And our sellers are going to be in a remote selling environment, and our buyers, more importantly, are going to be in a remote buying position. So you and your sellers have got to figure out how to leverage channels like social to be able to engage and win more deals. And it starts with you. That's right, you the sales leader. So we want to make sure that you understand the impact of what that could mean. Now, there are 7 steps on your path to social leadership. This will take a little bit of time. It will take a little bit of time, but as you grow in your skills, a lot of these things will become second nature. The first thing we're going to review today is creating an executive branded profile. Then we're going to talk about how to be a socially engaged leader. We're going to also talk about making sure that you take the time to build a voice, build thought leadership so that others will follow and or you can build engagement. And I'll share with you some stories shortly. You're going to want to make sure you have a plan to connect with every buyer. In fact, literally minutes before this show, we have a new feature set up in our CRM that anytime an opportunity enters into the middle of the funnel, I get a notification. I click on that notification. I look at the individual buying committee or individuals, and I reach out to connect with each one of those buyers at the middle of the funnel, as well as my customers. And I'm building the network and focusing them on customers that I would do business with and or engage with as well, to help build relationships in addition to my sellers. It's super important that we as leaders think about how can we help reduce the friction that it might take to actually close a deal. So this is very important. We'll talk about that. Step number 5, leveraging your network. For goodness sakes, we've got a network, us as sales leaders. Why are we not out there leveraging that network to book more meetings, to expand opportunities, to grow relationships? So these are the things that we'll be focused on as well. And be where your customers are. So if your customers love video, use video. If your customers love social, use social. If your customer loves picking up the phone and just having a chat, go back to old school analog. Be where your customers are at. We'll talk about that. And finally, keep tabs on the competition. These are the 7 steps that we're going to go through today. So hold on, let's get started. Let me take some time to talk about number 1, creating an executive profile. Now, this is very important. If you think about what your profile, your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter profile serves as, it is your digital brand. You may not realize this yet, but if you Google search your name, in my case, Mario Martinez or Mario Martinez Jr., when I first Googled my name as a leader, what popped up was not exactly what I wanted to be serving up to my community that would be looking me up specifically. And now, believe it or not, I actually have people searching my name on Google now. There's actually search volume as defined by all the search engines for my personal name, Mario Martinez Jr. Interestingly enough, what was popping up was my homeboy down in East Compton who was tattooed up all over his face with big giant earrings in his ears. Now look, that's good for that Mario, but for this Mario Martinez Jr., I did not want that being served up. So I had to recognize that my brand was super important to be able to serve up the content that needed to be given to my particular buyers. In addition, you may not realize this, but guess what? The old school days, I've been in sales for 23 years. I used to have the giant Rolodex with the little slots that I can put business cards in. I don't even know if you can buy those Rolodexes anymore. The reality is our Rolodex is a digital Rolodex, and it's called LinkedIn. And that LinkedIn Rolodex, if you would, serves as the ability to be able to sell ourselves, whether it's for this opportunity or for future opportunities. That's our network. And you may have heard of the comments that your network is your net worth. Yeah, it is. And so you want to be thinking about how to mine this Rolodex to build relationships over the course of time. In addition, it's also your digital business card. Well, I don't attend events anymore, at least not right now. But when I did and when I do in the future, guess what? I don't carry a business card. As soon as I meet somebody, I'm interested in potentially connecting with them if they are my target buyer, or if I find them interesting, or if I could add value to them, or they could add value to me. So I use my LinkedIn account as my business card. And that really is what your profile can serve as. It is also how Google and Yahoo and Bing will display you. So if you actually searched Mario Martinez or Mario Martinez Jr., what you're going to find on Mario Martinez, which has a tremendous search volume, not people specifically looking for me, but just generally Mario Martinez, you'll find that my Vingresso.com landing page is up on page number 1, and my LinkedIn profile is also on page number 1. If you did Mario Martinez Jr., my Twitter profile, my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn profile, and my personal website, along with our company website, all pop up on page number 1. This is how the world is now displaying you as a clickable item on Google. So you've got to make sure that you are serving up your profile in the way and the manner by which you want it to be served. I also want you to think about this for you and your sellers. Your LinkedIn profile really becomes a mini micro website, right? For whatever company you work for, it's the mini company abc.com. And you literally, if you've got 100, 1,000, 20,000 salespeople, even 10, You literally overnight can create mini company.com websites that are indexable and searchable as well. And finally, look, guys, one of the first things that I do, and I did this before I became a sales thought leader and social influencer, when an individual came through for a interview or for scoping out whether or not they'd be the right fit, the first thing I did was go to their LinkedIn profile. And you're probably doing the same thing as well. Who is this person? Who knows that individual? Who are their mutual connections? Who can you get a background reference check for this individual? Well, guess what? If you're doing that with your interviewees, don't you think those candidates are doing the same thing to you? So you want to ask yourself, what does my profile say about me? Does it speak to me being the most amazing quota-crushing sales leader and all-time President's Club sales leader? Or does it speak to how you lead, who you focus on, and what are your thought leadership capability sets, as well as does it identify you as a leader that I would want to work for? Namely, as an example, recommendations. Do you even have any recommendations from past individuals that worked for you or even sidelined to you? And if not, you've got to blow that up. And a great example is if you look back at my profile, specifically Mario Martinez on LinkedIn, you'll find that I've got over 130 recommendations. But of that, half of them are from people that used to work for me, with me in my organizations. And they tell a very compelling story of what I'm like to work for as a leader, my style, which is what's very important as people come on board. They understand my style, the culture. And that's what you want your LinkedIn page, if you would, to be able to display, is really focusing in on you as a thought leader, you as a domain leader, you as an actual real leader. What's the type of culture that you like to instill? What are your key cardinal attributes? Because what you want is people who are attracted to that. And when you find that type of talent, then you can become that much more successful in your recruitment efforts. And you can actually, if you need help with developing your profile, trust me, don't try to write it yourself. It takes me, who I do writing myself, but it takes me about 7 hours to make over my own LinkedIn profile. That's a lot of time. We've got the folks that can help do that for you. We've got the whole entire LinkedIn profile writing team. So with that in mind, make sure that you actually take the time to look at our gold and platinum packages that's going into the chat window as well. And for those of you that are watching on demand, you'll be able to go to the attachments and go take a look at our gold program and our platinum program. This is the exact same service. One just says you don't have to fill out a questionnaire, and the other one says we'll do multiple interviews and we'll do all the transcribing for you. So if you want to pay more money for us to do the work, no problemo. We'll take care of that for you as well. But guys, you really need to be thinking about how you can transform yourself and your messaging and your brand to attract your target talent that you're looking for, to help have the right messaging for the customers that you're trying to attract as well. All right, number 2. I want you to take a moment now to think about this particular slide that you've got in front of you. You want to make sure that your company is showing they have socially engaged leaders. Why? Well, here's a study that was done that shows that companies led by social CEOs that are on at least one or more social channels are 2 times more likely to be on the Fortune or Glassdoor 100 best places to work lists. Now, what does this mean? Well, guess what? 50% of our employees are of millennial or younger generations. And with that in mind, what they're looking for is they want to be able to see a socially engaged leader. They want to hear you talk. They want to hear you articulate the vision. They want to see people be acknowledged. So take the time to be a socially engaged leader. If all you did was bring public acknowledgement, recognition to your social sites, Twitter or LinkedIn or others, and acknowledge your team members for doing a great job and for doing an awesome job, boy, will that scream out that you're the type of leader that they want to work for. And that's the type of thing that attracts really amazing talent. In addition, it's that monkey see, monkey do. If you are doing these things, then your people will do these things. And why is that important? Well, The next slide actually goes in to talk about some of the studies that were done, specifically by the Edelman Trust Barometer study. Now, what this showed was that individuals, a person like yourself, a regular old employee, is trusted more and has more credibility than the CEO themselves. Let me repeat that over again. This is very important. That a person like you, a regular employee, someone with your domain expertise, is more credible than a CEO themselves. So the idea here is as you want to activate employee voices to be speaking on your behalf. This is super important. Now, if you look at Vengreso, everybody at Vengreso, whether you're in operations and doing data enrichment, or whether you're in customer success and doing back-end tier 1 level support, or you're on the sales side or the marketing side, every single person has a voice here at Vengreso. Why? Well, first of all, we sell digital sales training. So we better be walking the talk is the first thing. But secondly, it identifies to the world around us what they're proud of. And people who they're connected to begin to build an affinity, a trust, a relationship with the brand. And that's very, very, very important. In addition, not only with the brand, but more specifically with the individual. And most leads that are the high closing leads come as a result of someone who knows somebody who's referred somebody. Or I've been watching you over the last, true story, 36 months. And I'm now ready and in position to buy. Believe it or not, people have been watching what we've done and have been connected to us. And now they're in a position to be able to acquire training services or skills development services for their sellers. And this is very important that you make sure that you lead from the front, because when you do, you can see right here that a person like yourself, in this case, the employee, or in their specific position, maybe it's the accountant, maybe it's the marketer, or just a regular old employee, that they have more credibility than even the CEO or board of directors themselves. So this is very important. Again, talking about core concepts of leadership, lead from the front. All right. Number 3, we want to be a voice for our industry and build thought leadership. We want to engage and post and share updates. Well, what could we do? Up on your screen are a bunch of items that are popping up, 10 as a matter of fact. And you can basically help you to develop this thought leadership and build your industry expertise by looking at LinkedIn's recommended articles. LinkedIn starts to see, what do you like? What do you like to share? And then they start to actually recommend some of those articles. Other ones, personal insights. Look, I just published a photo of my new desk. It's a standing desk. I went from the old school brown, curved L-shaped desk to a standing desk. But there was a business application to that, and it's got tens of thousands of views on that, and people are relating to it. What was the business insights on that? What was the application, the leadership lesson? Well, I was getting ready to prepare a training for our whole company all around 4 pillars to success. And in that 4 pillars to success, I was speaking about having the right infrastructure. Well, it didn't hit me until my 7-year-old came in and said, "Dad, your desk is a mess." And it hit me that my own personal infrastructure was not set up to help breed or drive success. So I use that as a story to picture. Guys, it allows you to be able to be a relatable leader. It builds brand visibility. Why? Because of course I'm tagging my company. Of course my employees are engaging with that particular piece or that concept. We also do things like the virtual receiving line, where we welcome a brand new person to the organization. We record that video. We put it out on social media. We take small clips and we put this into the social media feeds because we want people to see that, hey, what we're doing here at Vengreso makes a difference and our people are happy. And it's a great recruitment tool. There's also all kinds of relevant industry news. Anytime there's a big major update about sales technology around LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it might be in the social industry, the video industry with companies like Hippo Video and OneMob, you've got all kinds of great relevant news. You've got company blogs that you can share, company white papers, company landing pages. Marketing's done a lot of the work. Number 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are easy things that marketing generally is producing for you. Even number 3, corporate culture, they've got that. Sometimes you'll see marketing even produce number 4 and number 1. In our organization here at Vengresso, we've got it all covered except for number 2, personal insights, and number 9, personal passions, right? So thinking about personal passions, what are the things that you can post about? Look, it doesn't have to be all about domain expertise and industry expertise. It is okay. It is okay to post personal passion projects. For example, you may be a volunteer for the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or homeless shelters. Any of those types of things that could help drive you to be a relatable leader and also build attraction internally and externally. So make sure you're taking the time to build your voice. How much time does this take on average per week? In my opinion, as a leader, you should at a minimum be on social media looking to engage with buyers and prospects, whether you're a CRO, CSO, or a sales manager, at least 30 minutes a day. At least 30 minutes a day. And by the way, I'm going to keep it real right here. Here I go. I'm going to keep it real. Don't be grossed out, but I'm going to keep it real. We all know that you take your phones to the bathrooms. So take some time inside there to be able to engage and connect with buyers and whatnot. Now, most of you, I prepped you in advance before saying that, so hopefully you're not grossed out by it. But the reality is that's what we do, right? So take that time to be able to spend a little time building up your thought leadership. All right. In addition to that, there's a couple things that you can do. You want to keep in mind that when you post something, your post can become searchable by LinkedIn. In fact, one of the things that we do is we have custom hashtags. So as an example, hashtag Vengresso Pics, P-I-C-S, hashtag Vengresso Vids, V-I-D-S. Take that time to be able to make that post searchable. You want to also recognize that your posting of content can help you be found. It's not just your LinkedIn profile, the brand, but all the stuff that you're adding to that. So as an example, I feature a lot of my content on my featured media area on LinkedIn. Every time I do that, Google indexes my profile and brings me now to the top so that I am found, not my competitors, or that I am found, not somebody I don't want to see on Google. In addition, you need to recognize that it's a permanent extension of your brand. So, a couple things that I recommend. You may be passionate about politics. You may be passionate about religion. You may be passionate about a number of different things. But just remember that in most cases, these items can become a permanent extension of your brand for good or for bad. So make sure you're developing that thought leadership. All right. I touched on this earlier. Number 4, connect with and follow every single buyer. Do you know how many times I speak with leaders and leaders say to me, so what should I do? Well, here's what you want to do. Look at your top 100 buyers, customers, prospects, either or both, right? Top 100. And maybe if it is both, in our case, you should be connected to all of those top customers. I gave you the example earlier where I talked about in our CRM just recently, we added the feature so that when a deal reaches a certain threshold, usually middle of the funnel, I get a notification about that deal moving to the funnel. What do? As a leader, I reach out and I connect and engage with that particular buyer through social media. The same applies with customers. You want to make sure that as a leader, you give them that opportunity to be able to be connected to the top of the leadership chain. And that may be you, your boss, your boss's boss, whatever role you might be in. Doing so helps you to remain top of mind to your buyers via social media. Why is that important? I gave you the example earlier. I literally had an individual, a leader, reach out to me and say, I've been watching you for 36 months, 3 years. Never had a conversation with them, never actually engaged with them on social media, but they had found my content. They saw what we were doing and they've been watching and now ready to buy, So those are opportunities that will come on the long haul if you do social correctly. It allows you to build concrete relationships by engaging with buyers. Just the other day, one of my former customers who's left and gone to a much larger organization, he reached out on social media on one of my posts and wrote a really amazing comment. And that was, you are one of the most well-known blah, 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 behind digital sales. That was an amazing comment that he gave. And with that, he engaged with my post. And so this helps to continue to build relationships. But at the same time, you can be engaging with your buyers' posts as well, giving them extra eyeballs to you engaging, along with the fact of making sure that you remain top of mind. And of course, using social allows you to be able to keep tabs on your contacts' movements, some of their interests, some of the needs. And oftentimes I get things in my feed that says, hey, so-and-so who hasn't posted in a while just recently posted. In addition, you want to make sure that you're engaged at all times. I mentioned to you, spend about 30 minutes a day. I know I interviewed Mr. Marcus Jewell, the CSO and EVP at Juniper Networks. Oh, a small little billion-dollar company. And with that in mind, this is the things that he's doing every single day. You also want to make sure that you're engaged with your buyers' company pages. So you can subscribe to those company pages. Look at the different news that is happening. You can do this a lot with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, but you could definitely do this with free LinkedIn as well. So make sure that you're looking at your top prospect opportunities, your top customers, and you're following those company pages. And if you're using Sales Nav, of course, save the context as a lead. Make sure you're inside there. And daily, you can go inside there and actually engage. And there's this new little feature that just got rolled out that allows you to be able to look at all of your notifications and clear them. So once you're done with them, once you've engaged, you clear it out so that you can clear out your news filter. And then don't forget, when you connect with or follow and engage, you want to mention your customers in posts. A lot of folks don't know how to do this. It's pretty basic. @mention. Just put the @ symbol, type in their name, and click on their name that pops up so that it tags them, because that's what sends the notification as well. Make sure that you are being a master connector and a master networker. That is what is key in terms of adding value to your buyers. So I want to give you this tip as well. This is something that I do. Generally, the sales rep will send a invitation out to the customer, and about a day or two before, they'll invite me to the actual invite. Now, when they do invite me to the invitation, in most cases, I cannot make it. So here's what I do. They likely will see me on the calendar invitation. I will reach out to them through LinkedIn if I haven't already connected to them. And this is a great tip for a sales manager. Definitely for a sales manager. For sales directors and VPs, you can do this, but I would probably do this to some of limit this to your top opportunities, maybe the top 100 that you've got on a quarter-over-quarter basis. But you might say this, hey, prospect's first name, I was just invited to join your meeting tomorrow with your sales rep's name. Unfortunately, I have a conflict, but I wanted to make sure you had a connection to, in this case, John's leadership team as an example. Given our backgrounds and experience, it'd be great to connect here on LinkedIn. I look forward to meeting Mario. Now, why is this important? Why do you want to do that? Well, hopefully your seller is doing the exact same thing. And if they're not, you need our digital sales training program to help you be able to develop a program around this. But if in fact they are, you are doing this too. And when you do this too, what happens is you will now have two people connected to that particular buyer, which is one more generally than what your competitors are doing. And when you've got two people who are engaged, two people who are building relationships, now they feel the warm and fuzzies, generally speaking. And now you're one-upping your competition. And now, in the event that your sales rep forgets to actually engage or share or comment, or they don't see that content in their newsfeed, now you can show up in that buyer's newsfeed and you get double the amount of exposure to that particular buyer. So keep that in mind. This is a very powerful tip. And also, as an attachment for those of you watching on demand, we'll actually take this attachment and we will put an image just like this so that you can see the script and you can download the script as well and use this. It is a phenomenal tool to build your brand with your target buyer that you're going after, to build relationships and forge relationships, and also to give your customers that warm feel, or prospects, your warm feel of being able to engage with a leader in the organization, that they're just not just a number or not just a person in the process, that they're actually engaged with the real leader. Number 5, I'm starting to get into ones that I really, really am passionate about. Encourage your reps to leverage your network. And this is very important. Warm referrals are key. If you don't allow your team to leverage your relationships, then you're prohibiting sales acceleration. You're prohibiting your pipeline from growing. This is super critical that you understand that if you have a network, your sellers should be able to leverage those relationships. And you're as a manager, director, vice president, CSO, CRO, or any other role supporting sales should be opening up their network. You should be encouraging before you even engage on an opportunity. You look to see how you can get into someone's office. In fact, our 18-step cadence process for outbound prospecting, and similar to the inbound prospecting as well, also has the first step on the outbound as the warm referral. We look for opportunities to be able to engage with our buyers very specifically through a warm referral. And I want you to walk away asking this question: how many referrals are you making on a monthly basis? How many did you do last month? If you said 1 or